Olá pessoal, tudo bem com vocês? Sejam bem-vindos a mais um vídeo do canal Irmã da Mariana. Diretamente do Canadá, temos um convidado especial hoje, que vai falar um pouco sobre a experiência dele com a ciência da computação e também com a pós-graduação que ele está fazendo no momento.
Olá, meu nome é Kevin, sou português canadiano e também sou estudante da pós-graduação.
Thank you, Kevin, for being here today, agreeing to do this video with us. So today because Tania has been in this journey trying to figure out what she wants to do after graduating, and so we figure we ask you a couple questions about what are the things that you consider when deciding on doing your master's, and as well maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you decide to be in computer science in general.
Yeah, sure. So for me with masters, it was a little weird just because I mainly, up until third year of my undergraduate degree, I was pretty set on not doing it actually. But then it was that fourth year that, I don't know, in my experience, I just felt that I wanted to learn more in my whole computer science field. And I felt that there was just certain things missing from my education. I had no problem with my education from my university, it was fine, but I just felt like I wanted more, you know? So it was mostly that need to want more, or just that need in general, that really pushed me to go to grad school. For example, I would say the past couple of months that I've done my grad school, I feel like I've learned just more than development and everything. I learned more than some whole courses that I've taken over semesters. So I see that as a really good benefit, at least for me. I know it's not for everyone, and also, I guess I have to attribute it to the fact that I was already working within a laboratory, and I liked the people there in the lab environment, so it made it really easy just to move forward.
Oh, thank you.
But you know what I mean though, right? It made it very easy to move forward. I wasn't worried about meeting new people or a new environment. It was very homey to me already. It wasn't anything new.
Right.
So yeah, I would definitely say that had a big factor into me moving to grad studies. And for computer science in general, it was kind of funny actually, because originally I wanted to be a software engineer, not computer science. And that came from me, I don't know, my parents at a young age, they kept telling me oh, engineering, that's the thing to do, right? And I used to, I liked computers a lot when I was a kid, right? Ever since my dad helped my family build our first computer, I just was always interested in it or playing around with it. So yeah, in my high school year, I was oh, you know what? I really like computers. I want to do something there. And then I saw there's different streams of dealing with computers. There's hardware, there's software, there's computer science, and that kind of thing. And for me, I kind of made my decision in the sense that I figured I like software, I like hardware, so I didn't want to go down one specific path. So I figured if I went down the computer science route, I'd be able to do either. That's pretty much my story.
That's good. Yeah, that sounds good. I guess that goes around a little bit what I've talked to Tania around deciding what to do. You just gotta start somewhere. Yeah. Get something around the area you think you might like, and then go from there, you know?
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
If it's wrong...
No,
yeah,
for sure.
If it's wrong, then you just pick something else.
Oh, pretty much, right? That's why I feel... Yeah. I have some people that will ask me, oh, do you think it's a good idea to take... at least here in Canada, we have the option of taking a extra year of schooling after, our last year of high school, just in case you want to, stay back and decide what you want to do. And I found that a lot of the people I know, at least, there's two groups of people, I guess. There's some that just decided to go straight into university, and then there's some that took that extra year to figure out what they wanted to do. And I found that the people that went straight to university with a goal, but they weren't super concrete about it, I found that they ended up not liking their degree as much, maybe dropping out, you know. But I found the ones that actually took their time to think about it. Some, of course, there's some that just knew what they wanted to do. But I found that the ones that that they didn't know, they took the year, they really thought about it, they looked at what, exactly what you're saying, what they like to do, right? And they went with that. I found that they ended up liking their degree and everything a lot more. So yeah, definitely stress the
Yeah.
fact that you need to go for what you like.
Do you have any comments, Tania?
Português or English?
Whichever.
Certo. Você fez esse ano extra? Did you take this extra year to start college, university?
No, that's the thing. For me, I was kind of already set in stone what I wanted to do. But then because the setback with software engineering, I thought I was so smart at the time. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go into computer science. I'm going to change in after. But then after that, once I was in computer science, especially it was the classes. I liked the professors, the classes more. But a lot of the friends there too, right? Just like everything kind of kept me back in computer science. So I just decided, you know what? It's pretty, not exactly the same thing, but for the most part at least, it was pretty similar. So I decided to stay.
You said that you felt like you needed to learn more. That's why you picked to go into grad school. Do you know how to differentiate like that feeling? Do you feel like you need to learn more in one specific area? So like, I know you started doing some research and you felt like you just wanted to know more about your research, or you just have the feeling that the undergrad in itself didn't teach you a whole lot and you wanted to continue schooling for that reason?
That's an interesting one. I would say more for me, like let's say for example, wanting to learn more about research, I would say that largely stemmed from my work in the lab, and like we would have weekly meetings, right? And I found that in that lab, during these weekly meetings, sometimes there'd be terms that like they would go over my head initially. Like I would understand them as the meeting went on, but they kind of like, it was lost on me initially. So I realized at that point that it'd be nice if I could actually go and learn more of these terms, because I started hearing these terms like outside of class more often, like between my peers, and like just talked about, let's say, job interviews. Those phrases would be brought up. And then I don't know, it just occurred to me that like, oh, I really want to learn more about that. Like, let's say in the data science, like specialization. I just wanted to learn more like about it, more things, like terms about it, and like goes for research as well. But in terms of like wanting to get more like learning out of my degree, or like than what I got under undergrad, I would say so. More, it's a weird feeling. Like I would describe, for me, it was that I felt like I learned in my undergrad courses, but I felt like a lot of it was very situational, like the projects that you would do, right? These projects that I like would do for this class, I feel like they were just a one and done kind of thing, whereas I felt with my grad studies, it's much more like, it's more prototype based, yes, but I felt like I was building actual products. Like a good example I like to use is with web development. Like early on, I was very like, I couldn't even say I was very bad at web development, but now that I'm here like working as a graduate student, I've been doing a lot more, and I found myself like pushing myself to improve and improve and improve. And I felt like that was a better experience, because before, in my undergrad classes, although they did push you, like, not to say they don't push you to be like better, to use proper practice and everything, there was a big emphasis on like get it done, you know what I mean, get the mark, and then that's it. Whereas I feel with grad school, it's much more emphasis on the quality, I suppose. I guess it's, if I was to boil it down, I would say quality learning over fast learning, I guess. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Right, I agree. I think what reflects a bit what you said, when you are in undergrad, you get a lot of breadth.
Yeah.
So you learn a little bit of everything, to the point that you don't feel like you actually learn nothing. You learn nothing. But in grad school, you get to start getting depth in something else, right? Even if you learn like a bit like unrelated courses, like security or something else, you're always thinking in relation to your one project.
Oh, yeah.
So how can I use this information to my project? So you start going deeper. So I understand that one of the things that made you go into grad school was the curiosity of learning of the things that you were exposed, and having your own project and then trying to develop that, right? I wonder what is your opinion on if you had like an industry internship instead, and maybe had worked in there, would bring you like the same type of curiosity but for something else?
I would say with that, I would pretty much agree with that almost entirely. Like I feel at least in my experience, how I've looked at this like whole graduate education, I've seen it almost like a job, but I feel like you learn completely separate things. Whereas with graduate studies, I feel like you learn a lot more about like the research process and that kind of thing. But I felt like, especially speaking to some of my friends and colleagues that like are actually working, doing jobs now, they're learning they learn a lot more, let's say in the programming sense, but it's very tailored towards that organization. So I guess it really depends too on what company you're going to. But yeah, I feel like like the quality of learning is similar, but the topics you cover are almost entirely different between the two. And I feel like that's the real differentiation between grad school and like going out to work at a company. It's really just what you want to learn, not the quality of education, because I feel like those are similar.
Yeah, I find it, I'm asking you these questions because Tania and I, we just recorded a video and I felt like I told her the exact same things. Not necessarily you need to go to grad school if you want to focus in one project. Yeah. You could have the same opportunity in industry, but you just have to pick like a company that has products that you're interested at, that have missions and values that you want to work with. And rather than like thinking that when you go to industry, you're going to have no freedom whatsoever to pick what you're going to learn.
Oh, no, 100%. Especially a thing I don't like as much, like there's like, I don't know, at least I've heard with my peers, it's like a connotation where with graduate degree, I guess there's an expectation that like if you just graduate, get your degree and get a job, I don't want to say you're less than someone who has a graduate degree, but like I've seen that a lot. And in my experience, I feel like if a person after their undergraduate, right, they took a graduate degree, so let's say that took 2 years, and then they finish, and then another person who just out of school, they just worked for 2 years. At that same point, I feel like the people, like those two people would be similar. I don't feel like there's one like above the other. Again, I feel like it's really different to just different skill sets, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. There's like this big connotation that a lot of people have, like, oh, graduate students are better. I really don't believe in that. I just feel like you just have different expertises, right? And like I know some people that are really, they try to say like, oh, you should just go to grad school, like you'll get more money out of it. But then again, like I feel like especially with the raises and everything, like if you were working, you would get the same thing. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think it's very field specific. I think in our field, a grad school diploma does not guarantee a higher salary. Because the level of skill and experience counts a lot in software development. So maybe somebody with 3 years experience and you finish your master's in 2 years, 2 years and a half, you're probably, maybe the person that was in industry working for a good company would be making more money than you are as a new grad from grad school.
Oh, yeah.
So it all depends. Doesn't necessarily guarantee you like super high income job.
Well, true. But at the same time, neither does grad school, I don't know, again, like what you were saying earlier, I think the big thing, I know everyone says this and it probably gets annoying, but it's really dependent on what you like, like what you're interested in.
Right.
And like, it's hard to know. Even like myself, I find myself like thinking, oh, what actually am I interested in, right? But I feel like it's something you have to ask yourself. But also, I like to tell people not to worry about it as much, because I feel like it just comes. Like, your opinions change, right, as you go on. Like, for me, first 3 years of my undergrad, I didn't want to do it. But then in my fourth year, I was like really starting to think about it. And then at the end of the fourth year, right, I just went on to it. But yeah, I would not worry about it as much, but keep it in the back of your mind, I guess.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Did that help, Tania?
Sim, bastante. Algumas coisas assim parecidas, tipo a questão durante a graduação você não aprende coisas muito profundas, aprende só o básico de cada ramo, assim. Sim. E também o fato de que há muitas vezes as pessoas com mestrado e doutorado são, tipo, vistas como superiores, principalmente no mercado de trabalho. Mas isso também aqui no Brasil, não sei aí, não é uma grande qualidade, porque muitas empresas não conseguem pagar o salário de uma pessoa tão bem especializada. Então, um doutorando, às vezes, acaba tendo mais dificuldade para conseguir um trabalho do que uma pessoa que acabou de se formar na faculdade. Mas faz sentido. Eu tô absorvendo as informações. Acho que é tudo uma questão de tempo, assim. Eu vou pegando informação de vários lugares e vou pensando melhor sobre isso durante a vida. Agora vai. Bom, pessoal, então esse foi o vídeo de hoje. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. A gente ainda vai gravar mais um vídeo com o Kevin, né? Mas queria agradecer desde já pela sua presença, por gravar aqui com a gente. Não esqueça de deixar o seu like, compartilhar, se inscrever no canal caso você ainda não seja inscrito. E se você tiver alguma pergunta pra fazer pro Kevin, pode deixar aqui nos comentários sobre a graduação ou a pós-graduação, ou até mesmo sobre o Canadá, né? E muito obrigada por acompanharem até aqui. A gente se vê semana que vem.
I guess just so that we can profit a little bit on the fact that you're Portuguese, I asked Tania to prepare some Brazilian expressions, and then we want to see if you can guess what they mean.
Oh boy.
The first one, caiu a ficha.